See, I never know what to say when we lead into one of these things.
Why?
Because I feel like I want to do something different every time, but I feel like I'm going to use the same thing over again.
That's fine. I do the same thing over and over again.
So yeah. Anyways, I'm sure this is going to end up on the episode anyways. So,
why you want me to cut it out?
No, it's good. Just leave it in there. I feel better when people listen to me fumble. Like an asshole. Anyways, we had Allie on today.
Yep.
Very interesting. She has some pretty cool stories about language.
Mm-hmm. She's just smart in general. I mean, she's getting her PhD. I feel like you have to kind of be smart to get a PhD. I don't know. Maybe you don't. But she was like one of my best grad school friends from the beginning. She really helped me even in my first semester there. And I knew what she sort of dabbled with in her master's, and I think that's really interesting because I think about it personally, but my favorite part was kind of like when we talked about how, actually it's how society structures language, but I think more of it as how language structures what we do.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting.
Definitely. And it doesn't hurt to have her husband kind of do a pop secret interview in there with the doctor.
That was dope.
Dr. Alex.
Alex.
And I really liked listening to Allie just pronounce certain words. It was very pleasing to the ear.
Damn right.
That's always good to hear. So now it's your chance out there to listen to this episode. So go check it out.
What do you want to
where'd you get your outfit today? Steve Jobs' estate sale?
Yep. Yes, I did.
Nice. Got him.
I thought about that too. I feel like I even have his dad jeans on. So.
Well, the good news is, like, do you have white shoes on?
No. That was his thing?
You fucked up.
Okay. Welcome to the Quality Under Pressure podcast, a podcast that reminds you that a conversation is still a beautiful thing. My name is Min. Happy holidays. And before we introduce our special guest, I want to say hi to my homies, Don Dean. What's up, dudes?
Yo.
Hey there.
What's new?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Your shoulders hurt.
I have an inflamed rotator cuff, apparently. So
Yeah.
trying to rehab that before we start up our new basketball season here.
Damn right.
Yeah, try to defend our title.
I just have an inflamed wrist.
Oh, God. We'll dig into all of that.
Okay.
But I want to introduce Allie. I guess we'll call you Allie. That's what normal people call you, I guess. Normally.
Sure.
But Allie is the probably gift that grad school gave to me. She helped me through my first semester. She's a genius. She's very kind. So I'm excited to have her on. Also, can you pronounce your own name? I feel like it's going to sound way better when you say it.
Sherman. My name is Alejandra Diaz.
See?
Yeah.
That's so much better than us saying like Alejandra.
Yeah, Alejandra.
Yeah. That
I couldn't say it. I couldn't do it.
No, but that's a pretty good try.
Really?
Yes. I have a long list of names that I called.
Really?
Attempting to say my name along others, but
Why don't they just say like Alejandra? Why are they trying
I
so
think
hard?
it's the J that gets most people.
Oh.
Like Alejandra.
Really?
And it's like, but there's Alexandra. If you can say Alec,
Yeah.
then just Han.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But, we'll have our struggles.
I feel like jalapenos changed the game. Like, because I don't think it was like that major in the...
I don't think I've ever heard anyone say that, but
No.
Jalapenos changed the game.
Jalapenos changed the game.
Shout
I know.
out jalapenos.
that's my new life philosophy.
I know that's like the people around me. That was like when they realized like, oh, J's can sound like that. Like that was like sort of the thing that changed in the 90s
Oh,
for the people around
phonetically.
me.
You
Yeah.
mean, okay.
Yeah, that changed the game.
Okay.
But it just sounds so much more beautiful when you say your own name. Because like when we say it, it's like, I'm trying to think of an analogy here. If we made a food analogy, like the way you say it, it's like if somebody brought out a dish on those like skillets and it's like sizzling, it's making noise, it smells good, and then you eat it and it's just like spicy.
You talking about fajitas?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I have fajitas.
was a
but,
joke.
like,
Wait,
a
so
joke.
fajitas. You're not talking about fajitas?
Vaginas.
Come on.
Tomato.
Okay,
Fajita
all right.
vaginas.
But when we say it, it's like a melted bowl of like vanilla ice cream. So it's just way better when you say it.
I mean, I like analogies and I like food.
Did that one work?
So I guess good combination.
Cool. Go ahead.
You're stretching for something here.
I know. I'm
Just
trying
try.
to think of a cool analogy.
Yeah, no,
but
that's cool. Keep going.
it's like if it were sports. No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Let's stop right there.
I don't know. Well, thank you again for coming in, and thank you for bringing your husband with too.
Which his name is also Alexander, by the way, which is similar
Yeah.
to my name.
And you guys are both very smart people, very kind people. So I'm glad
we're
that
okay. We're not that.
So I'm excited that both of you guys are in here. Dawson, do you want to get ready for that speed round?
I'm always ready.
So this is how we introduce our guests with a speed round. Don't think too much about it.
Okay.
They're not heavy-hitting questions.
Or are they?
Dun dun dun.
And here comes the music. Welcome to another edition of Lightning Round Questions. I don't know, I haven't come up with a cool name yet, so it's a work in progress.
Yeah.
On the
Working
QEP.
title.
All right, Allie, we got some questions.
All right.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Dogs, good answer. What is your favorite food?
Oh, like desserts, or I mean, in general, in life.
Food, just food. Like, you had to have one food for the rest of your life.
Ooh. Put that framing on it.
Probably tacos al pastor.
Ooh.
What was it?
One more time.
Tacos al pastor.
El Pastor. I like El Pastor.
Dawson doesn't know what that
No,
is.
I do. I have tacos El Pastor from Andale in Richfield. They're delicious. It's a real place.
I believe you,
It is,
man.
it is.
I just
Okay.
like that you have to justify that
I do, because, I don't have anything on it.
because I came at you.
Who was your high school celebrity crush?
Oh, okay. George Clooney.
Clooney.
Wow.
Mhm.
Nice.
Classic. Classic
yeah.
good looks.
Hot dogs or hamburgers?
Oh. I think I'm gonna go with hamburgers.
Nice.
Mhm.
I like you. Do you have a favorite movie?
I have a favorite trilogy. Does that count?
Sure.
Back to the Future.
Excellent.
Nice.
I had like two in my head that popped there, like Lord of the Rings or Back to the Future. I'm glad you went Back
I
to
mean,
the Future.
Marty McFly. you
Oh.
know?
Whoa. No, I was not. That was Joey
Joey
from
okay.
Blossom.
Yeah.
It's heavy, Doc. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
Oh. Is photographic memory a power?
I think
Sure.
so.
It is now.
Okay.
That would help with school.
Yeah. It's very practical power.
Yeah.
Besides this one, what is your favorite podcast?
Oh, I listen to a lot of podcasts, but besides this one, which is now my number
Yeah,
one,
yeah.
obviously,
Why?
I liked listening to Dear John on the bus because it had intrigue and
Oh, what is that
Yes.
one?
it's about a story about how a family met a person who was not stable in many ways.
Okay.
I don't want to give it away, but
Dirty John?
oh god damn it!
Dear
Is it
John
Dirty
was
John?
a,
You can
you can
swear.
swear
It's
whatever you want.
Dirty John.
You can use
not
any adult
Dear
language.
John.
Okay.
Yeah, Dirty John. That was a great one.
Oh, really?
This guy like pretended to be a doctor,
Yeah.
or he said he was a doctor, and
Yeah.
kind of got connected with this really rich woman in California, and
Yeah.
kind of leeched off of her for a bit.
Oh.
But it's really, really good. They're making a TV show out of that now.
They are, and
Yeah.
what's his name? Not the Hulk, but the other guy. Is he the Hulk?
Bruce
I don't know.
Banner-
Edward Norton?
Oh, that who's gonna play him?
I don't know. He looks like I get them confused. Eric
Bana?
Eric Bana.
Aha.
Oh.
Cameron Diaz.
the good,
Munich.
the good Hulk.
Munich.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Cool. So
nice.
that podcast is like how many episodes?
I think it was only
8, I think.
8.
And hour-long episodes?
Half hour. Some of those are half hour, 45 minutes.
Yeah,
And then it just ends?
it's like
Okay.
it resolves
Yeah.
itself,
Mhm.
and it's like the perfect bus
Yeah.
ride home from
That's cool.
the U all the way
Yeah.
uptown. Oh, another one though. There's an Aaron Hernandez podcast.
Oh, yeah, Gladiator.
Gladiator.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, like investigative journalism.
Oh, Aaron Hernandez, the football
Yep,
player?
yep.
There's a whole podcast on his story?
Yeah, Boston.
Yes.
I think the Boston Globe did it.
Yes. That's
Oh,
right.
really?
Cool.
Oh.
Okay.
It's really cool. Kind
Yeah.
of talks about how like just CTE and
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
Oh, that I gotta check that one out
Yep.
too. Both
Good
of these
one.
sound really cool.
I definitely recommend,
Okay.
especially the
so many good podcasts out there.
So many podcasts out there.
Yeah.
And we're not helping. We're just polluting the podcast world.
Here we come, baby. All right, a couple more questions here.
Okay,
Okay.
sorry.
Do you have what is your favorite band or musician?
Paolo Nutini.
Ah,
Yeah.
New Shoes.
Yes.
It's a good jam.
Wow,
Yes.
Dow.
Coming hot today.
You're so cultured, dude. You
You
know
know,
all about
El
food,
Pastor, Paulo Nutini.
Yeah.
I got it all.
Damn.
these podcasts.
Are you afraid of public restrooms?
You know, fear is this concept
Mm.
that we construct, right?
Damn
so,
right.
basically, the answer is yes. I think germs are very real.
Yeah.
Side question: do you have any horror stories around public restrooms?
Why are you going there?
Oh, I don't know. I like how we're like getting to know each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what the point.
It's easy to get to know Allie, though. I mean, the last time we hung out, I think we ended the night with your nickname very close to being Butthole Lips. So
This is true. This is a true story.
Yeah.
Writing that down.
Well, but okay, now I have to explain it. Butthole lips is when you're wearing lipstick and you're eating, and it kind of wears off in the center.
So
Okay.
the center of your
yeah.
lips are a different color than the outside.
Oh.
Like Pete Davis's butthole eyes.
I don't know, dude.
I don't know.
Well, but Pete Davis, the guy from Saturday Night Live, that was his big thing for a long time.
Oh, was it?
Somebody called him butthole eyes, and he got all mad about it.
Wow, you're so
Oh.
cultured.
Yeah.
Again.
Okay.
Okay, so horror story in the bathroom. Not really. I think I've just been socialized to be like terrified
Mm.
by my parents, especially.
Oh,
very,
really?
Very young age.
Okay.
Yeah, like don't touch stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think
Yeah.
thinking about it, that one time when we were in, I think, high school,
Yep.
we saw Harold and Kumar, and we
Oh, that was
went
when-
to
okay.
White Castle, right? We had never gone to White Castle,
Yeah.
and that one opened up just down the road,
Yeah.
and we went there, and we walked in, and the toilet was just blown up.
Oh,
And it was,
yes,
that was
dude.
just disgusting.
I remember that because
Yeah.
then, like, I don't know who
So
went in there
gross.
first. I think it might have been John.
Probably.
And then he came out and he was just like, I think everyone needs to go into the bathroom.
I remember that. Yeah. I
It was
remember.
so
needs to
bad.
check this out. And then, yeah, it was just
What-
like,
But what is it about disgusting stuff that you're like, you gotta see it, you gotta see it, take a picture, you know?
I think for me, it's just like, I don't want to suffer alone.
Okay,
I want other people to, like, I just want to know
like
if,
bonding.
yeah, is it as bad for other people as it was for me? Am I
Yeah.
overreacting?
No.
Mm-hmm.
But that scenario, there was no way you could overreact.
there's no-
there was no toilet left.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
It was just, yeah.
Okay, are you done with the speed round?
No, I'm not.
Okay,
Jeez.
Well, my music's gone,
This
so
is the
I gotta speed
speediest
through
round
it.
ever. Hold on.
I'm
here
sorry,
Hey.
this I'm slow.
We go. No, we're
Hey.
bad. We're getting in the way
Also,
too.
we need a longer song, though,
Okay,
so
I'll-
you'd have to start
Fine,
over
I'll
time.
dig up a new
Okay,
one.
couple more. Cold or
Okay.
hot? Cold or hot?
Ooh, okay, so I'm from Texas, and I live in Minnesota. The thing about cold is that you can add layers.
Mm-hmm.
Once you're hot, you can't like take off certain
Of the-
things after
of the
a
same
while.
mindset.
Yep.
Yeah. That's how I feel too.
So, but I'm from Texas, and I love Texas, right? So
Do you
I
have a
gotta-
default answer?
No, I'd rather be cold and put
Yeah.
on layers.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yep, exactly. Do you have a favorite sport?
soccer
Hmm.
Nice.
because soccer legs,
Ah,
soccer men,
nice.
Oh.
Me too.
but
Yeah.
also it's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
Does your husband
But
play
most-
soccer?
No, he does not.
Oh.
But
Do you enjoy
He will
soccer,
now.
Alex? Watching it from time to time. Oh, okay. He likes watching it from time to time.
Okay.
Okay.
I like it when I need to take a nap.
Oh.
So American. So American.
Unless it's FIFA and we're playing a tournament against our buddies. That's my time.
I love the World Cup.
Love the World Cup. It's the best. The greatest tournament ever.
Tremendous.
Okay, last question. If there's one place in the world you could visit, where would it be? Or do you have a favorite place you visited?
this is a really boring and cliche answer, but the first thing that came to mind is just going home.
Nice.
I like being home.
I love that. No one said that. No one has said that yet, though.
No?
No, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
Where's home?
San Marcos, Texas.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
I was gonna say that's the best answer. Then I was afraid I was gonna sound too much like Trump.
That's the best answer ever.
That
I'll be
is-
in Texas in 2 months.
Really? For work?
Ooh.
San Antonio, yeah, for work.
Nice, dude.
Ooh, okay.
I've been to San Antonio like 3 times in the last year, so I'm not that excited to go back. but
Okay. Maybe, but if you need any more food places to
I
go
do.
to, let me know.
I do. I need to plan some out. I have like one barbecue place lined up right now.
Ooh, which one?
M2.
Oh, okay.
It's supposed to be great. People line up for like an hour.
Wah, wah,
The guy's
wah.
from Austin. Then he went back to San Antonio and he added some more like San
Have you
Antonio
been
flavor.
to Salt Lake?
No, not
It's
that's in
in
Austin,
Driftwood.
right?
Yeah, Driftwood. Yeah.
I haven't
that
been there
one?
yet, but I've heard great things.
There's
Okay.
also a thing where Dawson doesn't like flavor, and so we've
Well-
talked about that on multiple episodes.
I do like flavor, and I was just in Atlanta a month and a half ago, and I had the best burger I've ever had in my entire life.
But what did you have on that
Oh.
burger?
Yes.
It had pulled pork and spicy teriyaki sauce.
What does it normally come with?
That
No vegetables
there might have been some vegetables.
that you took off, right?
I told I didn't. I just said leave them in the back. I don't want to be wasteful
Okay.
because they just got to throw it away.
So kind of you. Save that business.
the lettuce
Yeah, the
and
lettuce.
romaine. I don't want to have to go.
That's right.
Yeah.
You didn't look. Yeah. You're just being healthy.
I'm being smart.
That's right.
The rest of the world finally caught on about lettuce.
Damn right.
Anyways, carry
Also, Allie, I wanted to bring up when we first met.
Yes.
I should have just known from the get-go that we were going to be good friends because we were randomly assigned empirical analysis groups, and Allie and I got put in the same group. And then our first group meeting that we had, the very first question you asked was, "Is it okay with you guys if I swear?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah." Someone else asked, because I was totally like feeling imposter syndrome at that time. I had just started grad school. I did not feel adequate, and so I didn't want to be the guy. Also, I had this like image of like grad students, like, oh, I'm just gonna be around a bunch of nerds.
Well, and you were.
Yes.
Yourself included, actually.
Yes. But all good nerds.
Yes.
And I was like, they don't swear. Nerds don't swear. It's just like it's now looking back to our group was so good. Like our group was totally cool. Anna and Denitrix. So
Yeah. Great.
of course we could swear.
We had a great group.
Yeah. Any other questions before I?
No, I think I took enough time with the lightning round.
Okay. Good.
Thank you for your wonderful question.
Thank you for your answers.
I did want to ask you about your topic of the day.
Okay.
Before I dig into some of my like other questions. I think one of your topics of the day was productivity being tied to identity.
Yeah.
What is your thought on that?
Okay, so my mental space, so to contextualize a little bit, I'm writing my final papers for what will hopefully be my last class ever
Oh my God.
in life, which as a 31-year-old, like it's a long time coming.
Yeah. Also, did you do school straight? Like,
No.
okay, there's. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
No,
Yep.
no,
Oh.
Was
Can you imagine that?
Going from
from 18 to
Well, no, just from like kindergarten all the way through.
oh
through your
god,
PhD.
yeah.
Oh my
No,
God.
I don't. For me, it wouldn't have been a good choice.
yeah. I don't know why I asked that because I already knew the answer.
Yeah, I was like, aren't we friends, man? What the hell?
Okay, but you're working on your PhD. You hope this is going to be your last class.
Yes. And so, right. And so thinking about productivity and telling myself,
Yeah.
today I'm going to write 5 pages. Today I'm going to write 10 pages.
Yeah.
And it gets really unrealistic where I'm like, yeah, I can write this 20-page paper today by 6,
Yes.
And so thinking about the way in which we construct self-worth and the many ways in which you feel good about yourself or you feel not so great about yourself and what you can get done. And
This idea came from a personal space then? It wasn't necessarily an academic proposal?
yeah, no, it's just like thinking about like,
Yeah.
oh, today I feel really bad about myself. Why
Yeah.
is that? And it's like, well, I wrote 2 pages instead of 35 like I said I was going to.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's me too every day. Like I just plan out everything like a day in advance on my Google Calendar. And it's just like, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to like prep food after the gym. And then I'm going to do like these chores, all of that. It's like the whole thing is scheduled out for me. And it's like, I don't know why I do that because it puts so much anxiety on myself.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, God, I should just stop doing that. But also I don't want to be disorganized either.
Right.
So
I think the problem is I schedule myself to be the kind of person I want to be and not the person that I am.
yeah.
I'd be so disappointed.
in yourself.
If I did any of that, I would just be just a huge disappointment.
How do you schedule your life, Dawson?
What time is my kid up? What time is my kid asleep?
Oh, that makes
Oh,
sense. Yeah.
Pretty much about it.
So you can't plan for yourself necessarily.
I mean, outside of like this, I know on Saturday we're gonna hit the studio, we're gonna record a couple episodes.
Yeah.
I can schedule around that, but everything else is just chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. It would be harder if you actually put things in place and try to stick to it.
It'd be really tough because even when we like do family functions,
Yeah.
it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's like, well, when is she gonna take a nap? I
Yeah.
don't know. When she's tired.
Yeah. How about you, Dean? Are you rigid or?
No, very loose. Yeah,
good.
I don't really ever write anything down unless it's like very important or it's something that someone else is relying on me for. Like I have to pick someone up from somewhere.
Yeah.
But other than that, no, I just kind of
That's good.
try to remember the best I can. Really.
That's another thing too.
Mhm.
You're good at remembering little things. I feel like my anxiety kind of gets in the way, and it's just like I need to do these 3 things in an hour, and then I just end up forgetting all 3 of those things.
Yeah. What's really interesting to me, though, it's like tiny people have so much power. It's like, oh, yeah. And it makes so much sense. This small person, when they're up, when they're down, this is how I schedule my time. But it's just hilarious because I imagine small person dictating your time.
Pretty much.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And she's
Yeah.
absolutely a boss too.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Little Grace.
Little Grace.
Also, like, I like that you bring that up because so much of your self-worth is tied to, I think, in society, like material possessions, but also the profession that you have and all of this, so many things get tied into your identity, and that could sort of build a person up or break a person down. Do you have thoughts about that too?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
well,
share.
I have all the thoughts.
Yes.
Having things and status and all of that.
Yeah. Well, also, in Mexican culture, do people ask, what is your profession? I've heard more and more, so many cultures outside of the United States don't really ask that question.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think I can speak for an entire culture.
Yes.
But in my experience, it's a job is a factor among factors, right? It's something that you do. It's not necessarily something that super defines you. But
yeah.
I think more and more we're seeing through this globalization process, perhaps, how there is a status attached to your job and what you do and how you do it. And it's glamorized in so many ways.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I remember when I first moved to Minneapolis, I was talking to this guy who was talking about how he does like trade or something. And there's all these like euphemisms for talking about things, right? And he's like, oh yeah, you know, like I do trade stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. But like, what do you do? And he's like, I look at bacon prices every day, all day. And I was like, okay, that's actually kind of cool because I like bacon. But
he didn't want to share it right away.
Right. And it's kind of this thing where you walk into a room and rather than saying, so what are your interests? Or like, you have a kid, like, I'm assuming a cute kid.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
The cutest.
But like when you walk into a room, people aren't necessarily like, hey, how are you? What, like, how's your family or what, anything like that? What are your interests? But rather like, so what do you do?
Yeah.
And that's such a loaded question sometimes because it's trying to really map out, okay, where do you come from? What are some of the biases associated with that? And there's so much generalization, I think, that comes with.
What is your social status and all of that too?
Yeah, definitely. And how am I going to talk to you?
Yes.
You know, how am I going to treat you in relation to how my status rubs up against your status?
That was, so when somebody told me like, yeah, other cultures don't ask that, I really had to think about it because when I've kind of stopped asking that question when I meet people, but when I asked that question, it wasn't to map all of that out. I just wanted to like know what that person does every day, and like that led to other questions like, oh, like what made you interested in that job? Like for me, it's just like came from a sort of a naive place, like people get to their job because they like it. That's their passion drove them to that job. But so many times that it isn't the case. They got to a job out of necessity. So like I was asking it from this like completely innocent space. Not that people like when people ask that question, it is malicious, but like I just wanted to know more about that person. And then I learned like, yeah, it's this weird question because it does bring up all these issues that you just stated. Yeah,
and I think more than being good or bad, I think that speaks to the insidious nature of the way that, I mean, I'm going to call it neoliberalism, but, you know, the way in which we think about how we commodify what we do, our time, and how we put a price tag on that and how that price tag represents something of our worth.
Yeah.
And so I don't think it's necessarily, again, a sign of being a good person or a bad person and asking that question, but really it being a reflection of the context in which we live.
Yeah. We're just conditioned to do it that way.
It kind of seeps into your way of conceptualizing and thinking about life and what's worth your while and what isn't.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the word, I've been thinking a lot about the word investment, for example.
Yeah.
Like I want to invest in myself, you know, new year, new me kind of shit. And like, where do I want to put my resources? Where do I want to, you know, and by resources meaning time and energy, because I have no money. But, you know what I mean? Like thinking about investing in myself, that word, I mean, investment, resources, what do I have? What are some of my constraints? I mean, that's Econ 101.
Yeah, right. I'm glad too, like that when we took econ and all of that, there was sort of a human resource spin too, and like human capital, especially because our econ professor deals with like early childhood development and she thinks a lot about human capital. So I'm glad that it's just not material. Like it's sort of, I think there's two sides. It's weird to consider human capital a resource and like a commodity, but at the same time, I'm glad that it's being accounted for. And if it's accounted for in sort of like a more humane way, I don't know if that's a totally bad thing.
Right. I don't think there's necessarily, again, a good or a bad. I think it just speaks to the current state of how we conceptualize, how we think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about like online ads, which I know someone who knows a thing about that. I married him. Your attention is commodified.
Yes.
Like, did you click on something? Did you watch it for longer than X number of seconds?
Yeah.
People get paid for that.
Yeah.
Like, literally, your attention gets commodified.
Yeah.
And so, again, I think it speaks to that way in which we are constructing our world, in which we're constructing reality. And there's people who have a lot of money because of our attention.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that you're good at separating, like making things non-binary. You're saying like there's this gray, and our job is to figure out where we draw that line in that gray. Because I think there's so many issues where people treat it as a binary thing. That's sort of like where we get caught up.
Yeah, and I think that's limiting. I think that really stops us from thinking about what it means for ourselves. So we have this amount of time, and the way that you construct it, the way that you schedule yourself, what's important to you, go ahead and do your bad self, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be good and it doesn't have to be bad. It's just how you choose to use your time. I hope ultimately for all of our sanities that it becomes a choice and an awareness that we have, and like, okay, I'm going to scroll for 20 minutes because I feel like it, you know, and not just being this automatic thing that we don't even consider.
Yeah.
And half of your day is gone, which happens to me a lot.
Yeah. I also like that you brought up like how we measure if we like look at an internet ad or whatever too. I think so many times those metrics are weird too. Like, how many eyeballs have looked at this page? Yeah, but if you're selling that to an advertiser, who cares like how many eyeballs like just looked at it? I would also want to know to what intensity did they engage with something that we put out there. And so it's just like, do you want 2,000 people that just looked at it and moved on, or do you want 500 people that actually engage with that content? And if you're trying to like sell a service or a product, that's like, we have an expert in the room.
Yeah, let's make it up.
Let's
Swing
ask
that
Alex.
mic over it.
I think I got it. I think I got
moves.
it.
Yeah.
Can I move it?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're over here like speculating when we
Yeah.
actually have an expert on the topic in the room.
How did I get?
I would like to introduce Dr. Alexander Pfeiffer.
Yeah. Our first doctor.
Wow.
What hospital do you work at? But are we completely off base right now?
I mean, I would be the most useless doctor on a plane. I was just, no, absolutely. I mean,
Also get a little bit closer to the mic if you can. I know you don't have headphones.
I don't have headphones, so
Yeah.
It's good. It's good. I will. Yeah. So sorry. What was the question?
Just kind of like what we've been talking about. Are we totally off base, or like when you think of new age advertising, how we're approaching it? Do you have any concerns? I guess we could start there.
So what I focus on is sponsored content.
Yes.
And especially how we get to the point of the informed consumer. So I look at it from a point of consumer protection.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
So I'm not an advertising critic. I think, there's you should have the right to advertise.
Yes.
The whole point is to have consumers know when content is subsidized and how that happens.
Yeah.
And so I think the biggest challenge has been when we look at native advertising,
Mm-hmm.
so advertising that kind of mimics the form and function of editorial content. How do we make sure that consumers are able to distinguish?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what the Federal Trade Commission is trying to figure out. How do we regulate this effectively? So, yeah. Oh, am I too far from the mic again?
It's really sensitive, but
doing that.
yeah, it's just dominating your husband.
Push his head down.
Why do you think consumers need that protection?
I mean, there's potentially negative effects.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think there are too. But
Right. So if that sort of content, if we look at, let's say, a YouTube video, it can really affect how what sort of decisions consumers make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so am I not using this mic correctly? I want to be closer now.
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, there's potential negative effects if we base our decisions on content that we presume to be objective.
Yes.
But is actually, that content didn't come to be organic.
Yeah.
But organically, but was, I guess incentivized by some sort of financial gain.
Yeah. It was kind of like when Amazon they pulled all like the free product reviews. You can't do those anymore. Because I signed up for that. I used to get just a ton of free stuff just thrown at me. It's like, make sure you give us a good review.
Yeah.
And then you're just fluffing the reviews up, so everything's got 5 stars, but it's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And nobody cares. Like, but you said it was good.
Yeah.
Maybe I just got a bad one. So we need that because I was one of those guys. I wouldn't have just filled. I didn't care. The thing sucked. I got it for free.
Yep.
But same thing with just litter, YouTube videos of some big celebrity who's got 1 million followers, and they just, this product is great. You should all go buy it.
Yeah.
It sucks. Or
why does that work? Like, why does?
Because we're sheep.
Kendall Jenner selling me whatever
bubble tea.
Yeah.
Because you think you want to be her and you want to be like her, and it's just every year we do. Like I buy a new iPhone every year because I gotta have the new one.
Yeah.
But do I need it? No.
Okay.
But I want it, and it looks cool, and it's better than what I had before.
Yeah.
They put a sticker on it that says new. No, I gotta have it.
And advertisers know this. What are some protections? Let's start with what can the individual do, and then what are some sort of institutional protections that we can put in place?
I mean, for a long time there have been these guidelines around from the Federal Trade Commission.
Yeah.
That have applied to any sort of sponsored content.
Okay.
Where it said, okay, you have to make any sort of business relationship that you have clear.
Yeah.
And recently they've revised these guidelines.
Oh.
Just to say, hey, just so you know, this applies to any sort of media. And just because it's new media doesn't mean that these guidelines don't apply. And so sorry, go ahead.
No, do you think the laws have kept up? Because it is new, and we're still dealing with like new internet laws. And on the way here, I just listened to a podcast about how the First Amendment pertains to like Twitter and Facebook. Are we going to censor fake news? Is that dangerous enough where we have to censor it, or is it protected by the First Amendment? Do you think laws are doing a good job keeping up with online advertising?
I think that the guidelines are they're a good faith effort, and so I mean I have a very particular perspective on this.
Yeah.
I think that empirical insights are important to know how we can most effectively inform consumers of advertising intent.
Yeah.
And so I think that I guess everyone kind of has a gut feeling of what might work and what might not, but oftentimes it's not intuitive.
Yeah.
And so I think there's a lot of work to be done, and that's kind of where I operate to figure out how can we inform consumers, but how can we find ways to disclose that also, don't hurt advertisers,
right? And
find kind of that compromise that everyone can live with.
Yeah, no, that's great. Sorry for throwing you weren't even expecting to talk, and now we're throwing these heavy hitting questions at you too. So.
I've been seeing a lot lately on social media, like some influencers, if they're posting a product that say a sponsor is paying them to do, they'll put the hashtag ad on it. Is that something that the FTC is requiring them to do, or is? So it depends, because every country has different regulations, and so on YouTube you might see content from a lot of different places. Yeah.
The hashtag ad is something that the FTC would discourage people from doing, and make it more obvious than that. And so generally the guidelines are, and so don't hold me to this, I'm not the expert on the regulations yet. I'm trying to absorb as much as I can. But the point is to disclose it as closely to the introduction of that product, and to be as transparent as you can about the terms that you're receiving.
Sure.
But there is a gray area.
Yeah. That's what I was just going to ask, or just bring up too. Like, there definitely is a gray area, because more and more, just the element of storytelling, like, I feel like if you're going to tell a story, you want the person to feel immersed in it. That would probably work well for advertisement. But then to be like, have to put up a sticker on it, be like, hey, this is an advertisement. It sort of breaks that fourth wall a little bit, and it like sort of snaps people out of that storytelling. So it's like this weird balancing act that you have to do, where you're transparent and you have to tell people this is a story, but that's like maybe the most powerful element too. So I don't know.
I was just thinking like, my brain is working so well today because of my Bang energy drink I drank.
Okay, guy.
I'm going to take a sip right now.
Yeah.
Not only is it delicious,
Yeah.
but I feel great.
Yeah.
Anyways, carry on. Go ahead.
And if they gave you more free cans and money to make a show and talk about it.
I mean, yeah, I guess like if this episode is brought to you by Bang Energy, that might be one thing, but they haven't done that. So
The saddest thing is now we're advertising for them and we haven't seen a dime.
is that okay?
I mean, that's a disclosure.
Can I make that up? Because every episode I'd like to throw in like this episode is brought to you by something, just because that's the thing
right.
podcasts do, and we're not making any money. We probably will never make money off of this, but I have fun with that, and I don't think they're not going to get mad, will they? You think?
I feel like
I think it's a very positive association.
Yeah.
That they're getting
awesome.
for free. So.
Yes. There you go.
They hate us because they ain't us.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for that insight.
Yeah.
Sorry to throw this on you randomly.
interview.
Thank you.
Also, can we ask you guys about your wedding? Do you mind? How beautiful was your wedding? It wasn't even in the U.S. That's how.
From an objective standpoint, it was beautiful men.
Yeah, I believe it.
Where
How
was
about
it?
from a subjective standpoint? Yeah, where was it?
Where was your wedding?
It was in Würzburg, Germany,
Oh,
which
wow.
is my hometown.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
It looked really awesome.
Vicksburg?
Würzburg.
Oh, Birchburg.
Oh, you're no longer cultured now.
Sorry.
Vicksburg.
Pittsburgh,
Yeah, Pittsburgh, Germany.
home of the Steelers.
Yeah.
Brought to you by.
Stop.
Okay.
Let's get back to Allie here. I think another topic you wanted to talk about was adult friendships.
Oh, that's just a complaint.
Oh, what do you
Yeah.
not like about, or what is it hard? What's difficult about it?
They're hard,
They're
It
so
is.
hard.
It
right?
is.
They're
I mean,
impossible to make friends as an adult.
yes.
Oh, make new friends or
Yes.
maintain?
Yes.
Okay.
New
Well,
friends.
I think making new friends is really hard. That's why the fact that we became friends, it's like, oh my God, I called my mom and I was like, I have an adult friend.
Yeah. So it also helps when we have to like write papers together till like 3 a.m. and all of that too. But
Well, we were forced to spend time together. So.
yeah.
But like,
yeah.
think of that outside of work or school.
Yes.
Do you just make new friends? Like you guys say, have your basketball league, get your champions in Plymouth. What up?
Damn right.
But like outside of that, do you think you'd ever just like in high school, you just go to people and make friends?
Yeah. You're almost like forced to.
I try to do it in my neighborhood.
Oh, weird.
Because
Did people call like neighborhood watch on you? Or something?
no, like I'm not just knocking on doors. Like, hey, I'm new. Be my friend.
Just canvassing.
Take this cookie.
yeah. Want some candy? No, but it's so hard. It's impossible. Like
Do you know your neighbors well?
the one to my right,
Yeah.
really good. I know them really well. They have a daughter that's essentially the same age as my daughter, so they play
Nice.
along. We get along pretty well. The people to my left, I've talked to them maybe 5 times, and I've
Yeah.
lived in this house for almost 2 years.
When you see them outside, do you try not to go outside?
No, I say hi.
Okay.
And then my neighbor that lives across the street from me, him and I have like a lot of things in common.
Yeah.
We'll text and stuff, but we just
Oh,
never,
nice.
Yeah, but we don't ever like we've hung out like maybe twice.
Yeah.
Part of it's my problem. I kind of made an asshole out of myself, and I've never really recovered from it.
Oh no.
So yeah, it was a
Can you tell us what you did?
yeah. Well, I mean, we had like a neighborhood bonfire, kind of like, hey, there's a
Uh-huh.
bunch of new people in town. Let's all like in the town. Let's all get to know each other.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, let's go. And then about 13 beers later,
What?
I was pretty drunk.
Dropping bad words and
Well, I mean, I was pretty drunk.
yeah.
He had to walk me across the street to my house.
Oh.
So I haven't really been invited back.
Oh,
no.
Yeah,
Oh,
it was.
yeah.
But it was. He makes his own beer and it's really strong.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got away from me. But I don't know. I just
Do you guys still text?
yeah, every now and then.
Okay. Okay.
Like I was going to Vegas and he's like, "Oh, I was just in Vegas. You should go put some money on the Vikings win the Super Bowl."
Oh,
Glad
nice.
I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Aw.
Does he seem more flaky since that incident via
No,
text?
no,
Okay.
no. I think it's just me putting this block in my head.
Sure.
Like I look like an idiot. I don't want to go do that again.
Okay.
Because like he hangs out in his garage every single night, and he's got a TV. He's basically his like man cave is his garage.
Yeah.
So I see him all the time.
Yeah.
He listens to the same music as us. So I have
Oh,
that type
man.
of connection.
Fucked it up.
But it's just like, hey buddy, how's it going?
Like, what up? You gonna
gonna-
invite me over ever?
I'm gonna go hang out. So because it's weird because like I don't know how to deal with adults,
Yeah.
Sure.
even though I am an adult. I don't
Yeah.
act like one, and so I don't know. I don't know. I just could not make new friends, and I don't
Man,
have
that's
like
interesting.
a new circle.
Do you like yearn to do so?
I don't know. I mean, I have a lot of stuff going on as it is.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to have. But I have you guys. I don't really know how many more people I need.
Yeah.
I've got you guys and my other group of friends that I have worked with for 10+ years. Yeah. So I don't really need anybody else.
Yeah.
I think.
Allie, do you feel like that is maybe more prevalent in your mind since you moved? You moved to a different state entirely. So did it feel like you needed to make friends?
Oh, I mean, I've moved a lot.
Yes.
And often. So I feel very lucky that I have friends scattered all over the place.
Yeah.
Really good people. But I think, you know what? I think the problem with me is that I watched too much Friends growing up. You know? I have this picture in my head where someone's going to live across from me and be like, hey girl, let's do our nails or something. And it's because I do my own nails.
So that would be awesome.
It's my hobby. You know what I mean? Or someone
absolutely.
just to although if you think about it, the idea of someone just opening your door and walking in on you that is terribly, overstepping. But it looks nice in TV.
Yeah. I appreciate that desire because even I've known these guys since I was in 7th grade and 9th grade, and that's a big thing in my life is that I've had these friends that know things. There's been times where they recall my own experiences that I can't even recall. But when they talk about it, I'm like, oh my God, I do remember that. That's really cool thing to me. And I've always wanted that. So I get where that desire comes from.
Yeah. And I think also, so making new friends, I think is hard, again, outside of work or school, because that's where we spend our time. But also maintaining friends. For me, I've moved a lot, and I feel very fortunate that I have because I've learned a lot from that process. But at the same time, there's time difference.
Yeah.
There's constraints.
Yeah.
In that you're just doing your life and you're working, and if you don't see people, I think that there's something to that as far as feeling that ability to reach out and say, hey, because I think it's interesting that you mentioned a text message. Because I feel like the only people that I call are in my immediate family.
Yes.
So
true. I hate calling people.
Well, and another spin on it too is, I listen to a lot of podcasts, right? And there's one that I've listened to for almost 10 years now.
Yeah.
And it's a small, they've got way more listeners than us, right? And they're great dudes.
Yeah.
I listen to them, and they have a show that comes up. They record every Saturday night. They've got a really great community of people that are always in the chat room going live. But then you connect with these guys online, and I've never met the hosts in person, but I feel like I'm friends with them.
Yeah.
So when I try to explain that to people, oh, these are my podcast buddies.
Yeah.
There's one, Brent from the Cinema Chat podcast. I've never met him, but he's a great dude. Him and I have so much in common. Yeah. So we have a DM thread on stuff that we're not going to put out in front of everybody else. Just we're both, nerds on this, or we're movie guys on that, or we like wrestling, whatever. So him and I connect on that. And I feel like he could be a really good buddy of mine, but he lives in Kentucky and I've never met him in person. But
even for me, since entering the podcast world, I feel like I'm getting to know him too, because I see him on social media. I'm like, that's a cool dude. Well, and he's so responsive and nice.
Because he's awesome. He works at home, so he's in front of his computer all day long.
Yeah.
But he's a great dude, and that group of people, they do a meetup every year. Yeah. And I've always told myself, I want to go.
You should.
And I never do.
Yeah.
This year it's in Boston.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to do it because it's on my birthday weekend.
Dude.
So it's I think I got to go. I've talked to these guys I'm in a fantasy football league with a bunch of
That's
them,
insane.
So it's I have this weird internet group of friends.
It's weird that came so fluid and organically to you. But even when you're talking about how do I meet my neighbors, that feels like it has hurdles. But just meeting someone online,
because I can block the people online, or I can mute them.
That's true. You just
I can
don't
just block them, and or I can just delete my account. I can't really just delete my house.
Yeah.
Oh shit, house is for sale.
Yeah.
You guys just moved in. Yeah, but I look like an idiot, so it's for sale.
So you think there are things online that make it easier for you to do that?
Yeah, because you're drawn to you already know what these people are into. You have a common ground.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So this podcast it started as a video game podcast, a World of Warcraft podcast years ago. They've been so far off of that. They've been more time not as a WoW podcast as they were.
Yeah.
So it's just every week you get to hear their stories and their lives, and
damn, that's amazing.
It's crazy how you just have that common ground. Just like if Dirty John was a live thing and they had a chat room, you could be friends with all of those people.
Yeah.
Or like Up and Vanish. I listened to that podcast.
Yeah.
And there's people go crazy like trying to piece these pieces together from the stories. They start to work together on like these online communities of like, let's try to solve this case together.
Man.
But what's interesting about this though is that that's not how the internet started. At least for me. Do you guys? I mean, I still remember dial-up.
Yeah,
of course.
I love that sound.
Yeah,
No one loves that sound.
Right.
I do. I love that sound. It felt like it was the future.
But it felt like a lot of the chat rooms, the whole point was anonymity.
Mm-hmm.
The whole point was that you could be anyone from anywhere,
Yeah.
ASL.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah.
And right.
But like, so like Halle Berry, super famous person. She used to go on those chat rooms as like a third, like she would go in there.
Yeah.
Because she wanted to talk to people.
Yeah.
Instead of just
So
being
weird.
bombarded like, oh, Halle Berry. She wanted to go on there and talk. She just wanted to talk to people. I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember.
You made that up?
No, it's from
No,
something.
it's a song.
Oh, okay.
But
yeah, same idea. She just wanted to talk to people. That maybe she was in the Halle Berry fan club.
right.
God, the
and
internet has
at some
changed.
point we had this shift from the whole point is anonymity to I'm going to tell you everything about my life.
And you want to
You know?
claim all like the
And I wanna
credit.
claim
have
it, right.
followers.
Right. I have followers, which lead us to, the influencers we have today, but also like sharing like your Christmas note on Facebook or
Yeah.
whatever platform you're using. So your neighbors might see it on there, but you won't necessarily send it to them or give it to them in their, hand-to-hand exchange of a note.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that shift from, okay, I'm here trying to have completely access to people in an anonymous way to I'm here creating a community based on these interests that I'm happy to display. And
I feel like it's probably just because it became more ubiquitous at a point where it crossed that threshold. So now it's just a part of your life, 24/7. And so now you want to just live through that.
That's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of factors playing it. That's why you're a social scientist, Allie.
maybe. I think it's just because the internet got faster.
Yeah.
That too.
man.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
Way more access, way more
Do you
volume.
remember when like loading a picture would be like
Do I ever?
line
Yeah.
by line?
You don't want to talk about internet pictures with this guy.
Okay, moving on.
Do you think you can make friends the way Dawson did online? I feel like that'd be hard for you and I.
Yeah, why do you think so?
I don't know. I just like, for me, I've kind of realized sometimes I get overwhelmed speaking to people face to face because like even unintentionally, I'm like reading everything. Even like just a twitch of an eyebrow, I'm just like, oh, did I say something wrong? And like that like factors into when I speak. I've been thinking more and more about this like because I've been trying to prepare for like a job interview. I'm like, man, like there's been times where like the person that's interviewing me like looks away. I'm like, oh, now they're disinterested, and like I like wrap up my sentence and I try to think of a different thought. It's like maybe I shouldn't read into people that much.
Don't.
Definitely
Really don't.
not. Yeah.
Because I spend my entire day on the phone.
Yes.
I'm talking to people on phone or email. So that's for me. Like I got rid of all those cues. So I
That's
noticed
awesome.
in my life I've changed since I'm on the phone all day long. I don't make eye contact all day long like I used to. I feel like it's almost creepy if I stare at you for too long.
Yeah.
So like I just don't like to do it. I kind of look off. So, but I'm always interested.
Yeah.
But I just
I do that too when I talk to people. Like because eye contact is an important thing. But when I keep making eye contact, I think about like, oh, what is that person thinking? So I break away and like look down.
Yep.
Because I'm like, then I can sort of think about my own thoughts a little bit better.
And I always do this thing. I'm always nodding my head.
Yeah.
And it's like I'm a bobblehead, but I'm listening. That's how I'm engaged. I'm still listening. I'm not just like hurry up, let's go.
Me too. I give like so much
interpret that as-
feedback and things like that too. And that's why like when people like if you're at dinner and you're like having a great conversation, someone picks up their phone, like that breaks my heart.
Yeah. Well, and I think also, Dawson, what you're saying really speaks to again how we think about paying attention. And before it used to be like, I'm looking at you in this particular way and I'm not blinking, and the first one to blink is like a terrible person. And now we multitask and we are constantly doing so much that I think that the attention really becomes this thing where we're redefining it in different ways.
Absolutely.
The way that we display engagement.
Yeah. But my original point was it would be harder for you and I because you have
We're hermits.
Maybe that too. But you have just such a sense for the energy that people give off. And so to have this internet this ocean in between you and the person where you can't sense that, I feel like that's really difficult for the type of person that you are.
It's really funny to me when like you see people texting or something and they say, "Oh, look, this is really funny." With a straight face. You know, or like, and then they'll show it to me and then text back, "LOL."
Yeah.
They're old. They still say LOL like me. And it's like, but you didn't laugh out loud.
Yes,
like you had the straightest face ever.
Yeah.
And so I think, you know, it's like, look, that process of like, it's so funny.
Yeah.
Straight face.
I know.
It's just like, it doesn't make sense to me.
I think about that too.
I think it just comes down to liking being around people for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
And then being by yourself. But yeah, I like human interaction.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of wonderful ways to, you know, have human interaction. But for me, I don't think there's anything that can quite replace looking at someone and being like, we're laughing at this cat meme, you know, together.
Yeah, I love that. If you guys had to like go out and meet people, how would you do that today?
I don't know.
Go to the bar?
I guess. Go to a sports bar. Because a sporting event, not the best environment, but like if you go to a sports bar, you can at least be like, "Hey man, you see that?
Yeah.
That was a terrible play."
Yeah.
Well, okay, but like,
what do you do?
Don't fucking touch me.
I wouldn't even know where to start. You gotta like find an event to go to.
What's
almost.
good here?
So,
do you have any recommendations for food?
Can I have some of that?
They have a fantastic salad.
Yeah.
Great.
but also when you do go to these events, how do you come across as like, I want to be your friend?
Yeah.
I am not interested in intercourse. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yes.
Because I feel like often when you go to these places and you're friendly, or what you think is being friendly is like,
yeah.
So many times for me. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Like it's just like this woman is sitting next to me and like it's crowded. We're hitting elbows. I'm not gonna acknowledge you. But it doesn't mean like I'm trying to like get with you either. Like leave me alone. Let's just talk.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then some people have it. Some people just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you get that, and that's just is what it is. You just but I don't know. I don't have a great answer.
Yeah. It is tough to meet people.
I mean,
yeah.
I grew up saying hello to people all the time, anywhere. Like I find it strange when you walk into an elevator and people, it's a confined space, okay?
Yeah.
And people just like choose to do this thing. You don't have to talk to me. We don't have to be best friends and have the longest conversation in the world and, you know, tell you about how much I want to have a dog. But like, although I can if you want me to. But, you know, hello.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes.
You know, and I think a lot of that is just kind of awkward when it's gotten to the point where we actively try to pretend like the other person is not there. That seems like a lost opportunity to just wish someone hello, have a good day, hope you're well.
These days, we have a rule where we can't talk about Trump until episode 15.
Going up soon.
This is episode 11?
Yeah.
11. So I won't get too deep into it. But more and more these days, like I was at Target, I think, the other day, and I was turning a corner blindly. This other dude was turning a corner blindly. We almost hit carts. It was this old white guy.
Dramatic.
And I was just like, oh, excuse me, sorry. And the guy didn't say anything. I was almost invisible. And it scares me more and more these days because I've never been more aware that I'm a person of color since 2016. And this guy walks by me, I'm like, does that guy hate me? I know, I've never thought of.
Yeah, but I wouldn't read into that too much because I'm a white guy.
Yes.
And I get people that are the same way.
Yeah.
So then I intentionally bounce back and I'll fire something back.
Yeah.
Even if they don't acknowledge me, like, oh, sorry, you must not have heard me. Excuse me.
Nice, dude.
Like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Like,
dude.
You gonna fight me? Let's go.
Do you want to give it a go?
Do you want to fight verbally about how nice I am to you?
Yeah.
For apologizing for that's how I look at
I think that's the
that.
most Minnesotan thing I've ever heard.
It's very Minnesota.
Let's
very
fight
passive
about being nice.
It's super passive aggressive, right? And because I acknowledge, unless it's on the freeway. If you cut me off,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no,
Road
see,
rage
you
is
have to
different.
give them the thumbs down.
oh,
On the road?
Yeah, disappointment hurts a whole lot more than like an FU, you know? Like you are disappointed.
Did you guys see that video? It came out I don't know, maybe a week ago. It's just these two guys on a street and they're having a fight with each other, and they're just giving each other the most aggressive middle fingers.
Oh,
but they don't say anything.
Away from each other.
And he just turns around and just it's the best. It's like that is an argument that I want to have.
It's like Shakespeare, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
do you bite your thumb at me, sir?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Dude, that's awesome. I always think about it in retrospect, like, man, I should have like followed up. I should have said something. And just boiling like by myself. But in the moment, to follow up.
Oh yeah,
like, I didn't do anything wrong. I could have just said something like real quick. That never crosses my mind.
We had something like that at a Vikings game. Me and a couple of my buddies went, and this guy is just standing, blocking the view of everyone on this. It's like, hey, you paid money for your seat. Go sit in your seat or get the fuck out of the way. And he's just staring at us like, what? I'm like, get out of the way. We can't see.
Yeah.
So he doesn't move. So it's like, get down. And he finally realizes, oh, I'm being an asshole. I'm in the way.
Yeah.
So he starts to look down. He looks back at us like, is this good? I'm like, nope, keep going. And he's like, is this good? Nope, keep going. And he's basically at the point where he's sitting on the steps. I'm like, no, keep going. So then you want to get, he came up the stairs and he's like overlooking at me. I'm like, what do you think you're gonna do right now?
Yeah.
In a stadium of 60,000 people, you're gonna fight me?
Yeah.
You surprised, buddy. I'm with the 7 people next to me.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yes.
Okay. Is it just get out of the way?
God.
Just things like that just drive me nuts.
I think it comes down to also thinking about individuals versus the collective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like we exist in relation to each other.
Absolutely.
And I think we get so caught up in like, this is who I am as a person. These are my interests, because there's so much pressure to figure out who you are.
Yeah.
And to like do it at your best and be your best self, and you know.
But then the real mind fuck comes in when you realize we're just small. We don't even matter. We're that little tiny speck of sand. Like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Just live your best life.
Yeah. But I've been thinking more and more about that. Like you do matter, because like even when I went to grad school, like I had these like ideas like, oh, like okay, I got to go prepare myself so I can be the person to like help the world in a big way. And then like halfway through, I'm like, no, that's not what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna be that small cog, and every small cog matters.
It's very close. Just keep going.
I'm that small wheel.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Well, again, I think it's important to take that into consideration.
Yeah.
But I think it's silly to. I think a lot of entitlement comes from.
Yeah.
It's all about me.
Yeah.
And you have to think about others for your own sake. You are constantly rubbing up against the space and the rights of other people, and you have to think about that.
Yeah.
We exist as a society and not, in the woods somewhere
yes.
carving out stuff.
Yeah.
Can you tell I've never spent that much time in the woods? Doing
what do you do in the
woods? With the trees?
Whittling all day long.
But I agree. I 100% agree with that. And it also makes me sad because these invisible forces that we have to share and like think about and create these spaces for, we don't even have enough awareness where if you're like at a game and everyone there is looking at the same thing and you're standing in front of 8 people, if you like hold up a giant sign, people don't realize I'm blocking the vision of 8 people. Mm. People can't even get to that point. How are we going to consider these invisible forces? Like it just I get sad thinking about like we're so far away.
Can we talk about how sadness is a thing, and just because of so much stuff that's happening, and I've turned to binge watching stuff.
Nice.
As a form of
happiness?
Numbing myself?
Suppression.
Yeah. What have you binge watched to help you do that?
A lot of Mary-Kate and Ashley throwbacks that are on Netflix.
Oh, nice.
Because I am cultured.
Yes.
Give me Pete.
Wow.
You remember that video?
Nostalgia
No.
is
Give me
real.
Pete. So you remember Dean.
P-R-Z-Z.
Mary-Kate and Ashley.
Yeah, and then like, slow it down on YouTube. Give me Pete.
Are they weird? Mary-Kate and Ashley?
I don't know. I mean...
I think they're loaded right now.
I bet that.
Billions.
I believe that.
Maybe.
But aren't they kind of like weirdy?
In what way?
I know. Like, aren't we all?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think what you're getting at is like most children actors end up being kind of
Into weirdies?
Oh, I see.
maybe So what you're trying to
Because Liz Olsen seems so normal. The Avengers Olsen.
Oh, that's right. That's her sister.
Oh, yeah. There's multiple.
Yeah, not the twin Olsen.
Well, when's the last time you saw Mary-Kate and Ashley in the
It's been a while.
news?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Actually, one of them has like a clothing line that's really, really successful.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they're okay.
Okay.
I mean, I think they made enough movies aged like 0 to 18 to last them a lifetime.
Yeah, I really like that Parent Trap knockoff they made.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
What's it called? It Takes Two? Is that the one?
Yeah, I think
yeah,
so.
That's
How
a
do
really
you guys
good
know
movie.
so much about
Yeah.
Mary Kate?
Because they're cultured
The
men.
real question is, how come you don't know enough about
I don't know,
Mary-Kate and
man. I thought they were just done after Full House.
Ashley? Never give up.
Never get. Okay. Oh man. We're already at an hour,
Oh, dang.
so it's flew. And I definitely wanted to ask you about sort of your master's work too, because I think that's really fascinating. Is that your master thesis where you talked about? Because we've had this conversation briefly. How language shapes the world around us. Was that your thesis?
Yeah, that was part of my master's work. My thesis itself was about because it was a language master's, it was about how pronunciation happened at different types of schools and thinking about the funding and the way that classes and resources are allocated and how that results in the way that people pronounce a certain sound.
Wow.
Ooh.
But
Are you sure you want to go into this one? Because it's super, not necessarily the most thing that everyone's going to be like, wow, that's super interesting.
we'll make it interesting.
I'm intrigued.
Dawson will talk about boobies in between.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time following, but just carry on. Because I'm not the average man. So
you are the average man, though.
Hey, thank you. I'll just throw something in that'll be like, hey, this is brought to you by.
Bang.
I'll use one of my jokes. Go
Please
ahead, carry
pay
on.
me.
But a component of it was how language structures the world around us.
Yeah, so I focused a lot on sociolinguistics and thinking about the way that society affects language.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, just
Also, the force is the other way.
right. So it's there's sociology of language and then sociolinguistics.
Ah, okay.
So they go in the
Opposite.
study is in opposite
okay.
directions. Yeah, but I spent a lot of time thinking about how that relationship exists. Like, I spent some time teaching in Germany at a university, and so it's mostly German students. and I remember asking them, okay, boy,
Yeah.
the word boy. What's the difference between the word boy and the context of someone calling an older African-American man boy?
Yeah.
Right? And so that's to help us think about there's something about an older human being who is not a young boy being called boy that has underpinnings and a history and a way of constructing that person that's very different from calling a small male child.
Yeah.
I'll throw this in there because I'm not smart. Is that more just like a united, like an American style? Because I know the different languages have different words for different. Like I don't know. Like the gender. Like, in Spanish, it's O's and A's at the end of the. I don't know where I'm going, but is that just an American thing?
I don't think it's exclusively an American thing. That the phenomenon of using language to express more than the denotation meaning, specifically the meaning of the word. But I think the connotation, so the social meaning of the word, happens across languages. But I think that specific example is very much American and very particular to the history of this country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's super interesting. I got more and more interested in that type of stuff. I was watching a lot of food documentaries 6 years ago, and somebody was talking about cultures that say, I'm full, and cultures that say, I'm not hungry. The cultures that, after you're finished eating, the cultures that say, I'm not hungry, tend to eat less than the cultures that say, I'm full after they're finished eating. And so they're comparing obesity levels and things like that. I was just like, that's so true. I thought, before that, I just thought people were just going to eat until they're satiated. But the language plays a big part in that. So that was super interesting.
Yeah. And I think it's also about I think a lot about what it means to be full.
Yeah.
Because I eat a lot of food all the time, continuously. But, what does that mean? Like, I feel full.
Yeah.
Versus I feel satisfied.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And those can be two separate things.
Yeah. I always eat till I'm full. And
but do you eat until you're full until you feel disgusting?
I try to do it at least once a week.
It depends on what I'm eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I love buffets. Like I just remember growing up like loving buffets. I'm like, what? I can eat till I'm sick? I'm just like, oh man, like can we go and like eat at a buffet?
Yeah, you'd even want to go to Old Country Buffet, which is terrible.
Yes.
You should really go to Golden Corral,
which is the same.
which is way better because they're brought to you. No.
Yeah. Just brought to you by this guy. Yeah, so I don't know. I more and more, and then like becoming friends with you too. Like I've been thinking more and more about that. I've been catching myself like, God, because I try to use like colorful language, like coming from like an art and like writing space. I'm like, oh, like you can make language more fun and more engaging. So I try to like use colorful language. And sometimes I'm just like, I use stupid puns. And like in the context, it's just people are like, okay, like this guy's being insensitive or it could lead to that. You're
just describing my entire everyday. Just all the everyday. Like I'm smiling, nodding my head, then you're like, I use dumb puns. I'm like,
I was talking about like football players and like they were talking about like CTE and like different diseases and things like that. And like they were talking about like, oh, can we like link this to that? And I'm like, that's a no-brainer to me. I'm just like, oh, like why I could have used any other phrase, but like no-brainer came out. We're talking about the brain, and I don't know. Sometimes I just feel stupid that way.
Well, I think that the whole point of talking to people is to engage with them. And if you're going to have a conversation, talk.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like, especially occupying the space at a university and navigating the hallways and all the different conversations and people trying to constantly perform in accordance to where they are. I don't think anything beats just having a conversation.
Yes.
And if something bothers you that someone says, say like, hey, that was kind of weird. Like, let's talk about why it was weird, because otherwise you never get to the point of why something bothers you. And we're always, at least for me, way sassier in retrospect. Like I would have said something or I would have said it this way. And so I think language should be accessible.
Yeah.
I think it doesn't mean dumbing it down, and it doesn't mean anything other than being able to talk to people.
Yeah. I hope like even when I make those mistakes, people can sort of, that's why I think I feel more comfortable around you too, is like people can sense my intent. It's not that I made this weird pun and that should describe the whole conversation that we had, like the overall like theme that we talked about and my intent. But it's just like I get scared, especially like this day and age where like everything can be super sensitive. Like God, like one word could ruin that entire conversation. I think that's what makes me nervous.
So yeah, I think language matters.
Yeah,
I would always be someone to say that it matters what you say and it matters how you say it.
Yeah,
and at the same time, you have to have a willingness. There's encoding and decoding, the way that you construct and you put it out there, and the way that you decide, the choices that you make in deciphering what that person said.
Yep.
And so when thinking about that, you want to engage with people who have the willingness to meet you somewhere along that process and say, okay, this is what I think you said, but what did you mean and how can we talk about that? And let's just use your words.
Yeah.
Talk to people.
Man, I got way more confidence now. Fuck you, Dust. I've always wanted to say that.
Why didn't you just say that?
Let's talk about it. Let's work through this, man.
Yeah, let's get this all out there, motherfucker.
We've kept you longer than I was hoping. Especially like I didn't know your husband was in town. I don't want to take up all this time, and so we're gonna get you out of here. But when you write a book and you have to go on tour, can I be your social media manager?
100%.
Yes.
Yeah, you're doing such a great job with all of ours.
Oh, God.
Oh, wait, we're talking about things?
Yeah, you're using your words, Dawson. Good job.
Using my job.
The way you encoded that wasn't very nice.
Well, you can decode this.
Well, yeah. How did you decode it, though?
Smart, my brain hurts.
Yeah. Do you think you're going to write a book down the line?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope so, too. That's going to be so exciting.
We'll see.
Yeah. Go on Oprah.
Oh my God.
Does she even have a show?
Am I even worthy?
Yeah, that'd be
She has
great.
a network now.
Yeah, exactly. Any final thoughts, Allie?
I would like to use this time to send a shout out.
Ooh.
Do people still do that?
Yes.
Of course.
I would like to send a shout out to my brother Ted, my sister Christella, and my mom and dad.
Aw.
Hi.
I met your sister too.
Hey.
She was so nice.
Yeah.
I felt bad because I felt like we didn't include her in the conversation as much. So like when I went home, I was just like, God, I could have done a better job of incorporating her in the conversation. So I did feel bad about that.
Yeah, I think, and it's difficult also because you're eating, there's food, and my sister's deaf, by the way. So it involves
Like having to talk through you too. So
yeah,
Yeah.
being the instrument and relaying and translating.
if it
across.
wasn't your birthday, but it was like your birthday, so I'm like, we can't put this sort of like burden on you either. So I was just like, I thought about it when I got home. I was like, God, that was like kind of a jerk that night.
No, not at all. I mean, I was busy eating churros, so I was like, I don't care what you want to say. I'm busy. Nom, 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 nom.
Yeah. Well, I hope your family's doing well.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Are you going to visit them over break?
Yes, I'm driving down Monday.
Cool. Good.
So it'll be a road trip down to Texas.
Wow.
Good. Well, thank you again for coming on and teaching us about a lot of different things.
Well, no, thank you so much for asking me. I'm happy to have learned a lot from just having a good conversation. Good job, guys.
Yeah. Okay. Cool, Dawson. You wanna hit us out?
Yeah, absolutely. As always, remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We've got our Quality Under Pressure Facebook, Quality Under Pressure, and Instagram is at Quality Under Pressure. Emails are starting to come in, I think. So
Really? That'd be
send us an
awesome.
email at quppodcast@gmail.com. We're out.